It is a Tuesday, and we welcome you into Southern Sports Now as we get things going here. 10 o'clock sharp on this Tuesday. I'm Chase Robinson, and I am so glad you are joining us today. And so we've got a lot to cover as far as college football, college baseball. We'll dive into some Braves baseball, and big news on the golf front. Very shocking news we'll get to in just a few moments. Roger Hoover, the Crimson Tide Sports Network, will join us at 10:20 to talk some Alabama baseball. And so we will dive into that as they get ready for Super Regionals this weekend. But let's look at our countdown to football season. College football is 98 days away. We said yesterday we were reached double digits as far as our college football countdown, but we are counting down to September the 1st. That is when week one of the college football season begins, and it is 98 days away, and we are very excited for college football season. On the high school football front, 82 days away from high school football season, as we'll have high school football media days coming up later on in July. We'll be previewing high school football teams all summer long. Some coaches set to be named very soon in the area. We'll update you on that as news comes down, but 82 days away from August the 24th, that is when high school football season begins for the 2023 season. But we will dive in now to our top 5 headlines of the day. First up, the Women's College World Series Championship Series is set, and it is a rematch of the 2021 Championship Series. Florida State, they were the number 3 team, taking on Oklahoma, the number 1 team in the country. Oklahoma definitely the favorite in this series, but Florida State has been playing really, really good. They got a great win yesterday, 5-1 to put them in the championship series, but Oklahoma is just so strong. They are definitely the favorite heading in to this championship series. We'll see if Florida State can maybe make a surprise upset in this series, but Oklahoma is favored to win as they are in the championship once again for like the 100th time. I mean, they're just in it every year. It seems like what Patty Gasso has built there at Oklahoma is truly incredible on the softball front. And keep in mind, in 2024, they will be part of the SEC. And so the SEC is about to get stronger on the softball front as Oklahoma will be making their way into the conference. We talk a lot about the move for Texas and Oklahoma in college football, but remember what it's going to mean in other sports as well, especially in softball. On the baseball side of things, 6 SEC teams moving on to the Super Regionals. We told you yesterday, Alabama, South Carolina, and Tennessee all made their way on Sunday. But yesterday, 3 more teams punched their ticket to the Super Regionals. That was the LSU Tigers, the Florida Gators, and the Kentucky Wildcats, all heading to the Super Regionals. Arkansas, the only SEC team yesterday to lose. They lost to TCU. They are in the finals of the regionals. Breaking news just dropping here moments ago in the last 30 to 45 minutes. This is absolutely shocking news in the world of sports, especially in the world of golf. The PGA Tour, LIV, and the European DP World Tour announce they are merging. This has been an ongoing battle for a year now, a little over a year, as so many golfers exited the PGA Tour, went to LIV. Of course, LIV, the Saudi-backed golf organization. You know, these guys getting paid millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to join LIV. It is announced this morning to unify the game of golf. They are merging. This will be a new entity with a new name. Will be collectively owned for profit to ensure that all stakeholders benefit from a model that delivers maximum excitement and competition among the game's best players. That was the quote that came out this morning. And this is the crazy part. The Saudi public investment firm will be the exclusive investor of this new tour. So all of these PGA golfers and the PGA Tour who wanted nothing to do with the Saudi investors are now owned by the Saudi investors. And so this is a major development in the game of golf. And we knew when the two separated that things would get kind of hairy, and they did for sure. But now they're merging, backed by these Saudi public investment firms. So this is huge. We'll talk about it more later on. In college football recruiting, Clemson has made their way with the number one linebacker for 2024. Sammy Brown commits to Clemson. He does so over Georgia, Tennessee, and Ohio State. We have not seen Clemson win many recruiting battles over specifically Georgia and Tennessee, but they were able to get Sammy Brown, which is a huge pickup for the Clemson Tigers. But Kirby Smart really wanted Brown a part of the Bulldogs, but Clemson able to get him, and I think that is a big win for Dabo Swinney and Clemson. Again, he has not won many recruiting battles as of late over the SEC. He did so there with one of the best linebackers in the country with Sammy Brown. A little Braves news to pass along as the Braves start series with the Mets tonight. We will break down this more, but also news coming out. Mike Soroka headed back down to Gwinnett as they have optioned him back down after he has not had a good start. So that fifth starter of the rotation is no longer. So probably we'll see a game in this series with the Mets this week. And again, that begins tonight.
Encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, eansports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news, new faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
Southern Sports Now rolling on. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but we are back, and this segment is brought to you by Ted's Floors and Beyond, and they are getting it done these days, not only with floors, but they've partnered with Welborn Cabinet to now offer you a complete kitchen or bath makeover. That includes cabinets, countertops, flooring, backsplashes, and tile showers. As far as flooring goes, they've got you covered with hardwood, laminate, carpet, tile, and luxury vinyl. Always 0% interest financing for 12 months, and always a free in-home estimate. Lifetime warranty on flooring installation. They're locally owned and operated, so go by and see Ted's Floors and Beyond today for all your flooring needs. And now, for a complete kitchen or bath makeover, we appreciate Ted's for bringing you this segment of Southern Sports Now. We talked Auburn football recruiting yesterday. I want to look at recruiting big picture right now as we take a look at the top 12 teams right now as far as 2024 college football recruiting goes. No surprise who sits up at the top right now. The Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia coming off 2 national championships. Obviously, folks want to go play for the Georgia Bulldogs, so they sit there at the top. It's pretty typical top 3. Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama, the top 3. Interchangeable every day. Every time a recruit comes, it changes who's the top 3, but those are your solid 3. What I find interesting and very good for Florida fans, they sit number 4 right now in the 2024 rankings. Billy Napier is a great recruiter, and the fact that he's been able to get Florida up to number 4 in the rankings is huge. Dan Mullen put him really behind when it comes to recruiting, and so for him to be able to go out and get the 4 and 5 stars, he's gotten 1 5-star so far, but 6 4-stars according to On3. Billy Napier has gotten there at Florida. That is huge for the Gators, and I think that is a sign that this program is heading back in the right direction. Dan Mullen was not a recruiter, and so when Billy Napier took over the program, they were way, way, way behind. He had Florida as one of the worst recruiting teams in the country, and so Billy Napier has done a great job of turning that around. Michigan has picked up 11 4-stars so far. That has put them at number 5. And look at Shane Beamer in South Carolina. He has been recruiting his tail off as well. He's got South Carolina at number 6. He is, you look at the way they ended the season with the win over Tennessee, the win over Texas A&M. They did not slow down. And so win over Clemson as well. And so South Carolina, number 6 in the recruiting rankings. That's huge for South Carolina. As we move through the summer, I'll give you more of my predictions on how things will go. I like South Carolina this year. Notre Dame, number 7. Florida State, 8. Oregon, 9. We mentioned Clemson picking up Sammy Brown. That put them at number 10. You could probably see Clemson being maybe a top 6 or 7 team when it's all said and done there. LSU, number 11. Penn State, 12. I like Brian Kelly, the way he's recruiting down there at LSU. They've got some guys down in Louisiana that he's able to pick up, and so that has been big there for LSU. So that's just a look at where we sit right now with the class of 2024 rankings. Some really good college football players still on the board and have not picked their school yet. And so we'll see. That will be changing. But I like where I see Florida and South Carolina, especially right now, in the way those coaches are recruiting. A lot of articles are written on college football, but one came out over the weekend that I've got to talk about. And there's a lot of articles written by people who don't watch college football at all. And, you know, they make no sense. But one especially piqued my interest this week from Mike Florio, very well respected in the National Football League as far as writing articles. He works for Pro Football Talk, and he decided he would write an article on NIL and college sports. Mike Florio probably hasn't watched a college football game in 20 years, and he decides to write this article, and I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs for you. They're short. When Alabama coach Nick Saban first complained about the NCAA's still new NIL reality, some thought he was simply firing a warning shot at college football before he exploited the latest device for getting the best possible players and kicking everyone's blank. He absolutely wasn't. He was scared about what NIL would do to his program, his goals, and his legacy, and he's still scared. That's why he keeps complaining about it. That's why he's going to Washington this week as part of an ongoing effort to get Congress to clean up the mess that was made by years of corruption and plain sight antitrust violations by the NCAA, which extended from not paying players for their efforts to preventing them from getting paid by others. Saban wants to eliminate the advantage that schools in bigger and richer cities and or with more bigger and richer alumni bases will have when it comes to pooling money for NIL collectives. The fact that Mike Florio took the time to write this is incredible. I guess he doesn't watch college football because, first of all, Alabama has a great alumni pool, has a great NIL collective. Bryce Young making 7 figures in the last couple of seasons with NIL. But the fact to say that Nick Saban is scared of NIL and scared of what it will do to his program, his goals, his legacy. I guess he didn't look at the final recruiting tally from last year. Alabama had the best class that they've ever had. More talent came in on last year's recruiting class from Nick Saban than he ever has before. And so to say Nick Saban is scared is just a crazy statement. Because Nick Saban is recruiting better than he has before. Even at 71 years old, he is still out there pounding the pavement recruiting these guys, even in the changing landscape, even in this crazy NIL world. So to say that he's scared about NIL and is still scared shows that Mike Florio, one, doesn't know what he's talking about in college sports. He needs to stick to his pro football talk. But Nick Saban is in Washington, D.C. this week lobbying to Congress about NIL, as well as other coaches, as well as other administrators. But Nick Saban, obviously, the most high-profile name is, and there needs to be restrictions. Coaches have said that. Administrators said that. I say that. There needs to be more restrictions on NIL. But coaches change when college football changes, and Nick Saban especially has done a great job at that. Just wanted to pass along that fun article with you on the show today. But we're going to talk Alabama baseball coming up next. Roger Hoover, the Crimson Tide Sports Network, joins us on the other side.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rodney Sneed from both CARES and Direct Primary Care. Direct Primary Care is an exciting new model of medical care growing on both the East and West Coast. It's been recommended by Forbes and the American Academy of Family Physicians and others for individuals or small businesses with or without health insurance. The pure simplicity of a membership model streamlines the burden of medical care. It eliminates 60% of the overhead. That streamlining allows providers time to focus on patients with free, no copay, no deductible, unhurried office visits or telehealth visits with minimal waiting room time. It produces same or next day appointments and access by text or telephone during and after hours. That saves you from leaving work, wasting time and getting exposed in a waiting room, and the convenience and cost with barriers removed helps one avoid letting problems like a sore throat turn into an expensive ER or hospital visit for pneumonia. If you're interested, search the web for CARES Direct Primary Care.
We are back on Southern Sports Now here on this Tuesday. I'm Chase Robinson. Glad you're hanging out with us as it has been a fun weekend of college baseball as regionals wrapping up. We're getting ready for super regionals on the road to Omaha, and Alabama getting out of their regionals safely, heading to the supers this weekend. We're going to talk some Tide baseball now as we welcome on Roger Hoover, the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Roger, how are you today?
Chase, I'm doing really well. Fired up to get to Winston-Salem this weekend and hopefully just get 2 wins and go to Omaha. That's certainly the plan for Alabama, but thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And let's go back to this past weekend. Great weekend there in Tuscaloosa. We talked a couple of weeks ago hoping Alabama would be able to host a regional. They did. They had some good teams come in, but kind of take us through the weekend of what the Tide looked like as they were able to win the Tuscaloosa regional.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of everything over the course of this weekend, starting with the Nichols game. You know, that really reminded you of a Friday night SEC showdown between 2 really good pitchers, and Luke Holman of Alabama and then Jacob Myers of Nichols, who was the Southland Freshman of the Year. He'll probably be in the SEC next year. I imagine he would be very coveted by a lot of programs in the transfer portal, and he proved why against Alabama, getting a lot of strikeouts, throwing in the mid-90s, and being really tough to handle. So, you know, that was a classic kind of back-and-forth game, and Alabama gets its first walk-off victory of the season with the great walk-off base hit by Jim Jarvis, who had been scuffling a little bit. So that game kind of reminded you of some of the tight ball games that Alabama's played this year. Then the Saturday game was just such a back-and-forth thriller. Alabama, again, always punched back when it needed to, and we saw Troy hit a lot of home runs. Troy played extremely well throughout the course of that ball game, and the Crimson Tide got a little bit of what Coach Jason Jackson called Joe Magic in the 9th inning, when you hit a ground ball to short, you kind of think the game is over, but a throwing error brings in the go-ahead run for the Crimson Tide. Alabama wins 11-8, and so that was just another special moment for this group, and another proof that this group is really resilient no matter what happens in the game. Even down to their final outs, when things look very bleak, they can still find a way to come back and get a victory. Then the Sunday game was also pretty reminiscent of what we saw the last half of SEC play, kind of a blowout win. You know, Alabama posted some large numbers against notably Ole Miss and Texas A&M in the last few weeks, and then also in midweek games. It kind of felt like that against Boston College. 4 runs in the first inning. It was never really close after that. It really wasn't a great game in a lot of regards. A lot of walks from Boston College, a lot of pitchers used, as they were pretty exhausted by that point, having to come out of the losers bracket. So we didn't really, I feel like, see Boston College play at its best on Sunday night, but we certainly saw the Crimson Tide do that. Jacob McNary picking up a career-high 11 strikeouts his final time on the mound at Sewell Thomas Stadium in Tuscaloosa. So it was a long weekend, some really late nights, but I think everyone was pretty excited about how it went for Alabama, and now everyone's really fired up for this matchup coming up with Wake Forest.
You mentioned the walk-off win on Friday, then 11 runs on Saturday, 8 runs on Sunday. What's this offense looking like right now? What do you like about the Alabama offense?
It's really good 1 through 9 in the batting order, especially number 9, Caden Rose, at the very bottom of the order. Had a 2-run home run that was really critical to start the scoring against Troy on Saturday night. He got on base every time in that ball game. Again, Alabama's getting contributions up and down the lineup. Not even Caden just batting 9th, but right in front of him, Matt Gassetti or Ed Johnson. They're doing a really nice job getting on base. And this top of the order is producing like we're used to seeing. You know, Tommy Seidel, even though he's a little hobbled by the lower extremity injury, he still is getting clutch base hits for the Crimson Tide. He's the one that hit that ground ball to short that made all the difference in the victory in the 9th inning. And then you know what you're getting with Drew Williamson and Andrew Pinckney. And Pinckney's home run over the scoreboard in left field certainly was a moonshot on Saturday night. So right now, this lineup is really solid. And probably another unsung hero of this week was Dominic Temez, who is not catching right now for the Crimson Tide. Matt Gassetti caught each and every game, but Temez, as the DH, is getting a lot of critical hits for this ball club. And I think he just kind of makes everything go in the middle of the order as well. So really 1 through 9, this offense is clicking as well as it can right now.
As far as the Tide goes on the mound, you mentioned Jacob McNary had a great day on Sunday, going 7 2/3. But what's the pitching staff look like? I mean, obviously it's been a long season. You've played a lot of baseball. You're deep in the postseason. How's the rotation holding up?
Really well. The Luke Coleman, Garrett McMillan, and then Jacob McNary. None of them have really had a rough start, to be honest with you. Even though they've given up some, high numbers in their last couple starts. Garrett McMillan certainly against Troy, and even McNary going back to the SEC tournament against Vanderbilt didn't have the day that he wanted to have. But this is a starting rotation that just doesn't get blown up early in games, and that's what Alabama couldn't afford to have in a regional type setting. And now you get to a 3-game series in a super regional. I think it's just going to feel like a regular weekend for these guys with Luke Coleman, Garrett McMillan, Jacob McNary. That's expected to be the order once we start playing on Saturday. So I think they're giving Alabama a really good chance right out the gate to have some solid starting pitching, which really is the name of the game in college baseball. And then the bullpens performed admirably as well, most notably with Alton Davis II getting a lot of saves.
And I was going to ask you because, Alabama's been the SEC tournament. The regionals are more of a tournament format. This weekend will be back to kind of a traditional, best of 3 series. And I was going to ask, are they going to approach it the same as that as they would like a typical SEC series?
I would sure hope so, because again, they were very, very good in SEC baseball this year, going 16-14, and even before the coaching transition in May, they were so close in a lot of those games in the early half of the SEC schedule, and then even right before the change at LSU, swept in that series, but had a chance to win all 3 of those ball games. So this is a group that kind of thrives on a 3-game series, especially on the road. They approached it with a lot of fun. The last time they were on the road at Texas A&M, got 2 victories. In blowout fashion. The trip started with everyone wearing Hawaiian shirts on the plane, having a lot of fun. I imagine it's going to be very, very much the same once we get to North Carolina.
It's the first 43-win season since 2006. First time since 2010. Alabama's been to the Supers. Did you see this coming? Did you see that this team could be on a run, or is this kind of hitting right strides at the right time?
Hitting right strides at the right time, I think, is more accurate. I think early in the season, we knew this roster was capable of a deep run, but I tell you what took away kind of our hope for a run like this were the injuries to Ben Hess and Grayson Hitt, 2 really good pitchers who project well to pitch at the next level, but in their stead have been Garrett McMillan and Jacob McNary, who have always been solid college pitchers, and they have provided the veteran leadership you need in the rotation. They may not wow scouts with the radar gun, with the velocity on their fastballs or anything like that, but they're extremely effective pitchers at this level. So I think once those 2 got in the starting rotation, a lot of things started to click. It seems like the offense got a lot better at the start of May, and it's a really consistent batting order and everybody kind of knowing what their role is on this team. So I knew with a veteran team, they'd be capable of something special in the postseason, but getting a clean sweep at the Tuscaloosa Regional and being at home in the Tuscaloosa Regional certainly was even surprising just a bit. Based on how things were kind of midway through the season, you kind of felt like, okay, Alabama will probably be a good number 2 or a 3 seed on the road in the regional. But the work they did down the stretch to get to host was remarkable. And now they have an opportunity to play a super regional against, yes, the number 1 team in the country, but also a non-SEC team. I think that's a lot better spot to be in than, say, Kentucky that has to go to Baton Baton Rouge coming up. When we looked at the tournament field, I was just thrilled about, first of all, there were no SEC teams standing in Alabama's path to get to Omaha. That's pretty rare in this day and age with how strong the conference is, and that's the beauty of playing 10 weekends in the SEC. You're ready for anything. Alabama certainly will be ready for Wake Forest.
They sure will. We're talking with Roger Hoover, the Crimson Tide Sports Network. And Roger, talk just a little bit about what you've seen from Jason Jackson in his time and kind of how the players have rallied around him as he's taken over as interim head coach.
Well, he's been loved by all the players and everyone on the staff ever since he got to Tuscaloosa 6 years ago as the pitching coach. And I always noticed he was just always very calm, very steady in his role as the pitching coach. And you have to be when you're working with young pitchers who are trying to make that transition from high school baseball to college baseball. There's a lot of failure in that transition, not just in ball games, but even in practices in the fall and then January leading up to the season. You've got to have patience if you're in that kind of role. And he's also been a great developer of pitching. I think he's sending a lot of guys now to pro baseball that probably wouldn't have had a pro baseball opportunity had they not worked with him. So we know he is a great pitching coach, and we always knew that he was a really steadying presence on this coaching staff. Taking over that interim head coaching role, I think he's continued that. I think he hasn't really changed anything about his approach to how he sees the game of baseball. He says, he's got a few more tasks like writing up the lineup card and dealing with idiots like us in the media, but, he's gotten through that pretty well. He's very well spoken, and he's really done a great job leading, and everyone's just having fun on this team again. And they could have easily shut it down on May 4th when we got the news that the coaching change was going to happen, and that would be it. But they didn't do that. They've kind of rallied around playing a good brand of baseball and just trusting in themselves. I think Coach Jackson has enabled them to do that, but so much of this is really player-led on this team. So many good veterans, so many fifth-year seniors, and also a lot of guys that are from the state of Alabama and really care about playing baseball at Alabama, and they're certainly proud. They're the first group that gets Alabama back to a super regional for the first time since 2010, and now they're just focused on getting 2 more victories and getting this team to Omaha for the first time since 1999.
Yeah, I got Wake Forest this weekend in the Super Regionals. Of course, the top seed in the NCAA tournament. Really good baseball team. Kind of give us a scouting report of what we can expect with the Demon Deacons this weekend.
Well, they're going to swing the bats. They certainly did, scoring over 40 runs in the 3 games they played in the Winston-Salem Regional, and they got a pretty light draw, as you would expect for a number 1 seed for their regional field. Got past a good Maryland team that won the Big Ten conference tournament, but they're still a really good ball club, really solid top to bottom. Haven't gone through all my research just yet, but really good lineup. They're going to hit a lot of home runs. They have a good pitching staff. They have a good bullpen. They have everything you would want from a number 1 team. My biggest question is going to be how do they handle now all the pressure, because all the pressure in the world is going to be on Wake Forest this weekend. There's really no pressure on Alabama. Again, this group has kind of overachieved at this point. Winning a regional championship, I think everybody would say job well done. But for Wake Forest, they've been talking about getting to Omaha and winning a national championship throughout the season. This is a program that hasn't been to Omaha since 1955. Excuse me. So they really have a lot of pressure, and we've seen that a lot in college baseball throughout the years, most notably last season. Tennessee ran through the SEC, regular season SEC tournament champions, and then they were stunningly upset at home against Notre Dame. Maybe this is the inverse of that. You have the ACC team that's home against an SEC team that has kind of overachieved, has nothing to lose. I think Alabama would be well served to kind of see whatever Notre Dame did last year against Tennessee, and I think one of the main things that helped the Irish get that win was Tennessee played tight. And if you play tight in the game of baseball, you're going to be too aggressive or not aggressive enough at the plate. You lose focus, you lose control on the mound. And so that's why, again, I feel really good about this matchup for the Crimson Tide, just because the expectations are so lofty on Wake Forest's shoulders based on the great success they've had throughout the year and the desperation for that fan base to get this program back to the World Series for the first time since the 50s.
Roger Hoover talking some Alabama baseball with us, but 6 SEC teams in the Super Regionals this weekend, so we very well could see a lot of SEC representation once again in Omaha.
Yeah, I'm certainly hoping so. I want that number to be right at 6. And, I thought the best team probably prepared for a deep run in this NCAA tournament was the Arkansas Razorbacks based on everything I had seen in the second half of league play. Turns out they get blown out a couple times at their home ballpark. So I'm glad I didn't set a bracket or anything like that. But it's going to be really fun, especially that Baton Rouge regional. I think is a really intriguing matchup between a good Kentucky team that plays the most frustrating brand of baseball possible, laying down a lot of sack bunts and stealing bases and not hitting home runs versus an LSU team that will bomb the baseball out of the ballpark, and they've got the best pitcher in the game in Paul Skeens. And then I think it's going to be a lot of fun as well to see what happens in Hattiesburg. We got the news this morning that Southern Miss would be hosting Tennessee, right as Tennessee was hoping they would get to host after winning the Clemson Regional, but Southern Miss wins the Auburn Regional. Now they get to host at Pete Taylor Park. I've gotten to go there with the Crimson Tide the last few years, and it's a really fun atmosphere for a midweek game against Alabama. I can only imagine what it's going to be like for a weekend against an SEC power like Tennessee. So that's part of the intrigue. South Carolina, Florida, I think look really good as well. Again, it's going to be a really good year. I think everyone feels good about the fact that we know we're probably get multiple teams to Omaha, and now it's up to Alabama to try and make sure they join the party because you don't want to miss out on what could be a very special week and a half coming up in Omaha, Nebraska.
Should be a fun weekend all across the country in college baseball. Roger Hoover, the Crimson Tide Sports Network. You can hear him and Chris Stewart bring you Alabama baseball all across the network. Roger, appreciate you coming on with us. Enjoy your weekend in Winston-Salem. We will hopefully talk to you again soon, but thanks for your time today.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chase. Roll Tide.
Thanks, Roger. Roger Hoover, the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Again, him and Chris Stewart will be bringing you all the action this weekend on the Crimson Tide Sports Network and on the Varsity app. From Learfield is where you can listen to Roger and Chris, two of the best in the business, bringing you Alabama baseball. Let's jump to a break here. Coming up, we'll talk a little high school basketball. Yeah, how about that in June? We'll do that on the other side. Stick around.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, eansports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
Southern Sports Now continues on this Tuesday morning as we are live on the East Alabama Now Facebook page, on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel. We are live there. You can go to our Twitter page at EAN_sports and follow the link to watch there. But we sure appreciate you for joining us today. Maybe you have a topic idea, a guest idea. Shoot us an email, eansports23@gmail.com, or you can send us a message there on our Facebook page, East Alabama Now, or on Twitter at EAN_sports. You can send us a direct message there. But we'd love to hear from you, your thoughts and comments as we get this show rolling. So you can interact and talk with us there. Comment, like, share on our YouTube page, on Facebook as well. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be notified when we go live. All that good stuff there on Facebook and YouTube. When we roll into June in high school sports, of course, workouts start for teams, but also a chance to play and compete. And yesterday, Fellowship of Christian Athletes held a play date for high school girls basketball. Today, they're holding one for high school boys basketball there at the Anniston Aquatic Center. And really good turnout yesterday. 4 teams were playing there on the girls' side. You had Childersburg, Fayetteville. You had White Plains and Sacs there yesterday. And Cole Limbaugh, he's the area director for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Talk to us a little bit about how unique of an opportunity this is for FCA to be able to host these basketball playdates.
Really, one of the things that we try and do in FCA is just be where our athletes are. So summer play dates are a way for them to get better and get ready for their upcoming season. And it's a way for us to meet them where they are and share Christ with them. That's what today is all about, is just a day for us to encourage them in their walk with Christ, but also for them to get better at their sport.
And so, like I mentioned, the Sacs Lady Wildcats were there yesterday, and their head coach, Lamar Bradford, going into his 2nd season as head coach there of the Sacs Lady Wildcats. A chance for them to compete, and it was their first play date. So really the first time coaches got to see them play all together since the season ended. And he shared kind of what he's looking for as he watches his ladies this summer.
Energy, effort, how well we understand basketball, how well are we sprinting up and down the court, are we communicating, just those little things, just trying to get back basketball feet up under us.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity for coaches, and they're looking for ways to find the things he just mentioned: energy, effort, just kind of getting in basketball, mindset again. And so coaches are looking for that, and these playdates are a great way for them to find out about that and about their team, and give them a chance to run some plays if you're installing a new offense or defense or whatever it is. So coaches love opportunities to play and compete in the summer, because you can practice and you can go against yourself and scrimmage all the time, but to be able to face other teams is big for coaches to be able to see, and especially for Sacs. Coach Bradford's got a relatively young team. He talked to us about kind of the layout of his team and what they're going to be working towards this summer.
1 senior and I think 2 juniors, so I got a lot of youth, and so I'm excited about that. And they have bought into the system, so I'm pretty excited about this upcoming season. And we got summer workouts start tomorrow. We'll work all the way through the summer, just trying to get stronger. I think that was our biggest problem last year. We weren't strong enough. So through the end of the season, the latter part of the season, we began to kind of wane a little bit. So hopefully this summer with the workouts, that conditioning will help us through the rest of the year.
So Coach Bradford getting his ladies ready for the upcoming season. It should be interesting. 1 senior, 2 juniors there for Sacs, but I think he's proud of the way those younger players have bought in. So we'll be keeping an eye on the Sacs Lady Wildcats this year. But again, the boys up today. If you want to go watch some high school basketball, you got Oxford, White Plains, Dothan, and Moody playing there at the Anniston Aquatic Center today. And so that should be interesting to watch. Now, you're wondering, why is Dothan up here playing? Those of you who've kept up with Oxford High School basketball, Jacksonville State basketball, Jeremy Bynum, he was a longtime assistant at Oxford, played at JSU. He's actually the coach of the Dothan Wolves now, and so he has brought his team up and is playing there at the Anniston Aquatic Center today. But familiar name to East Alabama there, and Jeremy Bynum coaching Dothan High School basketball now. But there's lots of play dates coming up for all kinds of teams across East Alabama. As we get into July, we'll see way more high school football and some 7-on-7s, high school volleyball, all that. But June is kind of the month for basketball and baseball to be played in these play dates. And again, coaches kind of break away from workouts and getting some competition and seeing other teams, seeing how their players react to it. But we'll see basketball and baseball in June. We'll see football, a little football towards the end of June, but a lot of football, 7-on-7s and OTAs in July, as well as volleyball as well, getting ready for the 2023 season. And it'll be here right before we know it. I mean, summer always flies by, and it'll be high school football season. As we told you, 82 days away from the high school football season. And for school starting back, and coaches really get a chance to spend a lot of time with their players. But a lot of workouts beginning this week as far as summer workouts go for teams, starting those yesterday and today. And so these guys are working. The grind has started, getting ready for high school sports for the upcoming year. We'll grab a break. Braves baseball, golf talk, more coming up on Southern Sports Now. Stick around.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news. New faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
Southern Sports Now on this Tuesday morning. Chase Robinson here. We're glad you are along. Glad to be back. And Braves begin their series with the Mets tonight. Had the day off yesterday. And, what's interesting about this series to me is the Braves, of course, sit high atop the NL East. Mets in third right now. Phillies in second. But if you go back to last year, the Mets were riding high in the NL East. They had an 8.5 game lead over the Braves 1 year ago today. And they were 37-19, kind of similar to what the Braves are doing right now. And they hit a skid in July and August. The Braves ended up, of course, winning the NL East. And so for the Braves coming into this Mets series, they can't be complacent with where they are because they're in a very similar situation to what the Mets were last year. And the Braves ended up taking the crown of the NL East once again. So heading into this week, the Braves have to be ready to play some baseball because the Mets are really, really in a tough spot. And this could be a turning point for them, kind of like it was for the Braves a year ago. the Mets coming off of a sweep by the Blue Jays. They were swept by Toronto, something Atlanta can relate to. And the Braves coming into this series, the offense seems to be clicking a little better. You're seeing guys get some hits that maybe we haven't seen really come through for the year. The Braves are 35-24 on the year. The Mets are 5.5 games back. They're 30-30. And so it's kind of a tale of two tapes, if you will, from last year to this year when you compare these two teams. But certainly there's a lot of baseball left to be played. And as we saw last year, even if you are in complete control in June, doesn't always relate to you're going to come out on top of the league in September when it's all said and done. So the Braves need to go into this series with that on their minds, the fact that a lot can happen. Yes, you want to beat your rival Mets no matter what. But the fact that they very easily, if they can get healthy, which they probably can, maybe later July, early August, see some of these arms come back that they're missing right now, this could be a really dangerous Mets team. And so I think the Braves need to keep that in mind, definitely as they head into this season. One thing going for the Braves, the Mets will be without their one of their ace pitchers in Senga. He's had 73 strikeouts so far this year. He will not be facing the Braves. They will face Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, though. Scherzer has been really good lately, only allowed one earned run or less in his last 4 outings. Verlander's been decent, kind of up and down, but the Braves are facing really two really good pitchers in Scherzer and Verlander. The offense has got to be clicking, and Scherzer is going to, as caused the Braves a lot of problems over the years, whether it's in the Dodgers uniform or in a Mets uniform. And so this is a really big series for the Braves, I think, to keep looking forward, to keep their head on straight and not let the Mets pull them down and cause kind of a turning point, a shift in the season as far as the Mets go. The Braves are the better team. Will they play like the better team? We'll just have to see. But certainly excited for this Braves-Mets series beginning tonight there in Atlanta. Let's shift over to golf. We talked about the news breaking earlier today as far as the PGA Tour and LIV now merging. This is a shock to the sports world, a shock to the golf world. This is a massive development in the world of golf. It's been going on 2 years that we've been seeing this LIV versus PGA. And we've seen legal issues. We've seen, the relationships of players ruined. These guys that left PGA to go to LIV for their hundreds of millions of dollars that they left for, that really severed relationships with the guys from the PGA Tour. They were trying to not allow LIV players to be in the major tournaments. I mean, it's been a whole ordeal for the last 2 years. And so for this news to come out is truly a shock. And I was just browsing Twitter during the breaks today, and even these golfers coming out, they had no idea this was happening until they got the news this morning. A lot of these golfers were not in the loop on this, but some of them speaking out today. Phil Mickelson tweeted, "Awesome day today." He's excited. Of course, he was one of the founding members of LIV after all the success he's had on the PGA Tour. He was willing to step away and help start LIV. So, a lot of folks are coming out and shocked and reacting to this, and a lot of them happy. A lot of them probably aren't happy with this decision. But it'll be interesting to follow now because, again, so many people were against the Saudi investment firm who backed LIV. That's why they didn't want any to be a part of it. But now this Saudi investment firm is going to be backing this new entity that we'll have with these two combining. So this is so interesting, and it will be to follow in the coming days to see what happens. But you've got to know that some of these golfers are probably waking up this morning and not happy with the decision that is being made. And again, we've seen the Saudi Arabia public investment firm. They stepped in. They are a backbone of WWE. They're really getting into sports now, and now with golf, they'll be the primary investor. And so this is crazy times we live in golf the last 2 years, but this is really bizarre now. But it's good for golf. It's good for golf that they're combining, that we're not going to have these issues that we've been having of wondering if these live players are going to get to play, if they're going to allow them to play. They're all going to be together again, but under much different circumstances. But we will continue to follow this landmark decision and deal that has been made. We'll follow it as information is released. We'll pass it along to you. But certainly breaking, shocking news this morning from the world of golf. Not a lot of details have been released yet, obviously, as this is a brand new deal. But we can expect probably in the coming days to find out more details. And how will it affect things moving forward? We have no idea yet. We have no idea when this will begin and take place. But certainly can imagine it will be soon, as the whole live golf came about very soon. I imagine that this also will move along very quickly, but very interesting stuff there in the world of golf. That is all the time we have for you today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate Roger Hoover for joining us today from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Again, lots going on in the world of sports today and this week. We're covering it for you each and every day from 10 to 11 a.m. on the East Alabama Now Facebook page, on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, get notified when we go live. We appreciate you for joining us today, though. Be sure to share it with your friends, and we'll do it again tomorrow, bright and early at 10 a.m. So get ready for Southern Sports Now. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.